Hello and welcome to podcast number 2, take 2. We've already recorded a bunch of this, and then we discovered that Darlene's mic was not on, and so we had to can that one. It's not the word I wanted to say. But welcome to the podcast. If you can listen to this on all the podcast things on your, the podcast app on your phone, whichever phones you have.
Spotify, Audible,
all the
stuff. Major ones.
That's right. We're worldwide. Like Pitbull. Pitbull, worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. Yeah. So today's topic is one we get asked all the time.
Yes, and that is from other RVers. They ask us, should we start a YouTube channel? And our answer is no. So that's our advice for you today. Okay, goodbye. Thanks for tuning in.
No, not really, but we don't always paint the perfect picture of it. So we're going to talk about some of that today. So I have questions because we have a tendency to go off and do the whole like
squirrel.
It's just, so we're going to try to have some orderly questions here. So we're going to ask these of each other and kind of expand on that. Hey guys, before we jump in, I just wanted to thank the sponsor of today's podcast, Liquified RV Tank Treatments. You guys know we've tried everything over the years. We've tried Happy Camper, Unique, and DIY concoctions. And honestly, we were pretty skeptical when Matt from Liquified reached out. But after testing their products, I have to say, these are the only treatments that have restored our tank sensors on our kitchen gray tank and completely eliminated those stubborn smells that have plagued us for quite some time. I like it because there are no harsh chemicals. And to be honest, these products just work. And here's the exciting part. Liquified is giving away a gorgeous Alliance Ultra Light travel trailer. This is completely legit. They've even hired a professional sweepstakes company to manage everything. It's totally free. You don't have to purchase anything to enter. You only have a few days left though, because the drawing is going to be on May 31st, 2025. So time is running out. So just head over to Liquified RV /LTNTRV giveaway. LiquifiedRV.com LTNTRV giveaway. That's our special link for this community. You can get bonus entries by taking a quick survey. And if you do decide to try their products, they're going to give you more entries. And oh, by the way, they are in many, many Walmart stores across the nation now. So that is super cool. Even if you don't need another RV, imagine winning this beautiful trailer for a family member or friend. I know that's what we would do if we could enter. Don't wait. You only have a few days left to enter. Now let's get back to today's topic. So let's just get started with, why did we start a YouTube channel?
Yeah, so we've been full-time RVing for about 3 years, and about a year and a half, from what we can recall, into it, we decided to start the YouTube channel. But prior to that, we were actually very much against the idea because we both work full-time and we're both in marketing. We've been in digital marketing pretty much our entire career, and we're old, so that means we've been working at it.
We did it before it was digital.
Yeah, but yeah, we used to deal in direct mail and things like that, if that gives you any idea. So, so we both work full-time jobs. So that meant, we're working the RV all day, 8 hours a day. And then that meant that we would have to like film videos on weekends and edit them during the week. And also neither one of us were any good at video editing.
Yeah, we didn't know anything about video editing. In fact, being in marketing, we were marketing managers. We actually just didn't do the YouTube part ourselves. We would outsource it. Yeah. So we knew of it, but we had never done it. So it was a whole new thing. I mean, I think having a marketing background helps, but it was all new. Learning Premiere Pro from scratch. Oof.
Yeah, she does that.
Brutal.
So still didn't answer the question. So what inspired us to do it? Because we did start it whenever Darlene was still working. We were in Utah. It was our first time to Utah and our first trip, which was also our first boondocking experience. And we went off grid, had the solar newly installed, and did that whole thing. And we were both so enamored with the fact that you could actually do that, that you could go off on some dirt road somewhere and park in this empty space that was totally free, and it turned
public
out
lands.
Yeah, we were like 20 miles away from Bryce Canyon, which is a gorgeous national park, and we have the national park pass, so we got in super cheap. And we were like, this is so cool. And so I felt like we had something to offer because, why would people want to watch a YouTube channel with two people that work full time and they do nothing but sit at RV parks most of the day? Not very exciting.
Yeah. So we basically decided at that point, because there's so many YouTube channels and we knew that the market, the niche was saturated, but we felt like, okay, but we really have a something to say about boondocking, especially because we had never RV'd before we got this rig. We had never boondocked until we figured it out. So we felt like, okay, if we can do it, anybody can do it, right? And so let's share our mistakes and our adventures so that you don't have to make those mistakes and you can maybe try it too. So we had a voice. So I think that's why we started. And then I think on top of that, about a year and a half in, I lost my job. So
yeah, that came later. This was not planned, but we did actually have some early success. If you scroll way back in our videos and look at the beginning ones, I don't know if you remember the title of that one. It was actually an Ansel Borrego.
The beginning videos?
The one we got monetized.
Oh, I don't remember exactly which one it was. But we got monetized in 5 weeks.
Yeah, which is
pretty unusual.
Really awesome. And I think it was, but what I was saying is it's because we had one video that went viral early. Yeah. I would like to say that we planned it, but we did not.
You never do. And no. That is a lesson we'll talk about. That YouTube is a long game. It's not a quick game. So I think a lot of people get on the road and they're like, hey, we'll just start a YouTube channel and we'll make some extra money. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember the limits on it? You gotta get so many views per.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I think it's different now. Is it 2,000 views, 4,000 views? I don't remember.
You can look it up.
Yeah, you can look it up.
You use AI for everything, right? You are using AI these days, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a number of subs and it's a number of watch time hours. So that you have to meet those things. And it's difficult for a lot of people, but if you stay with it, you're going to get there and then you can just keep growing. But back to the getting started, our biggest fears, I don't know that I had a fear about it. I think after I lost my job.
Well, no, I think we did.
We did?
Yeah, I think kind of going back to our marketing, still working the full-time day job stuff. The one thing that we at least knew from our marketing background is that if you were going to do YouTube, it was a commitment.
Yeah. That
if you must do consistent content. I don't know that you have to do weekly. I mean, some people do daily. Some people
we know a successful channel does every other week. So
yeah, I mean, some people do 2 videos a day. Maybe not in the RV niche, but there are definitely niches where that's a thing, like news niches and stuff like that. I mean, old news is old news, right? So, so it's a commitment. If you're not going to commit to putting that time in and consistently publishing on the same time, same day, every week or month or whatever, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's difficult. It makes it harder on yourself.
So the fear was that if we do this, there's no stopping.
Yeah.
You don't get holidays. You don't. There's no breaks. You have to be prepared and to just know that that's your job from that point forward. If you want to make a go of it.
If you really want, yeah. Now, if you're just doing it for hobby, and this is what I tell people all the time, if you're just doing it for hobby, just do it for hobby. Don't worry about monetization. Don't worry about that stuff. Just share your adventures. But what happens is you put all this effort into making these videos and you want other people to see it. And then when no one's seeing it, you're like, well, dang, that's not fun.
It's like, what exactly, why would you do it as a hobby? I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of a competitive person. I'm not super, but I know I want to know that what I'm doing is going to amount to something.
Yeah.
And so if you make a video and like she said, you put a bunch of work into it and after 6 months, it's sitting at 500 views, you're probably
I think that goes to the question here is what's the biggest misconceptions about having a YouTube channel? And I think the couple that we met recently, that was a great example. She was thinking they're retired and she was thinking about starting a YouTube channel because they have this really, really cute puppy. Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And but
his name is Harold.
Harold.
Mm-hmm.
He's so it would be like the Harold channel, kind of thing. Harold's Adventures. But the thing is, I told her, and this is what I would tell any of you if you ask me, is I said, it's going to take away from your lifestyle. It's going to take away from the moments. It's going to take away from your adventures because you're now turning it into, we have to film this. We have to do this. We have to document this. And if you're retired and you're out there just enjoying life, do you really want to give up all your time
Right.
editing, you know, planning, trying to figure out YouTube, teaching yourself YouTube? And it's like, so I'm like, I don't know. If you're not really wanting to do that, I just say just make videos for your friends and put them on Instagram or Facebook and just leave it at
Right.
that.
Or on the other hand, if you're the type of person that gets easily bored and you don't like the idea of kind of sitting around the campground with nothing to do, oh, this is retirement life. This is what this is about. I wouldn't know. I'm not retired. But and you're the kind of person that really wants a reason to get up in the morning and still work, maybe just 20 hours a week or whatever. Hey, it may be a great thing for
Yeah.
you.
Okay. So let's move on to behind the scenes reality. I think this plays into what we're already talking about. How much time do you actually spend creating content versus living your life?
Okay, well, let's put this in perspective. I get up every morning, depending on what time zone that we're in. My job is on Eastern time, so sometimes I get up at Eastern time and I have to clock in at 8. Sometimes I'm on Pacific time and have to clock in at 5. But regardless of that, she gets up not too much after I do, and she puts a whole day in exactly like I do.
Yeah,
In
it
fact,
is.
she even works more weekends than I do. Because again, there's that pressure of we do a weekly video on Thursdays. We've never missed it, and now we're actually creating podcasts as well.
Every
Which
other week is what we're trying to do on the
yeah, but
podcast.
eventually that'll probably go to
They'll probably be
weekly.
weekly eventually, but I think that's the juggle is because Barry is working a regular job, I'm pretty much doing everything to where when it comes down to he gets off work, then we film. Not every day, but a lot of days. And I'll tell him ahead of time, hey, tonight we're shooting this and this, or we need to try to get this in, or Sunday before we go out and adventure, we need to shoot this, or, and so it takes away a lot of the time. I mean, I enjoy it. Let me just back that up. I really do enjoy doing this
Yeah.
because I've always been in marketing. It's just allowing me to apply my creativity and my knowledge to a new platform, to a new thing. Instagram, I'm sorry, influencer or content marketing is just a little different. So, yeah, but then the second part of that question was who does what?
Well, I do what I can. I'm mostly I'm mostly the pretty face. I mean, to be honest.
Well, and I will say he clocks in at 8 Eastern, but oftentimes he gets up 2 hours sometimes before then and works on channel stuff. And he's the technical guy. I'm the creative guy. So I think that's a little bit more.
That's really what it is. I mean, as we're delving into all different types of things, we've got things yet to come. And so I've been applying a lot of those technical things and working on it, but it's tough. You just got to put the time in. There's no other way, because I really, really don't want to do it on weekends.
Yeah, we do try to have fun on the weekends.
100%.
Yeah, and even if we have to film it, we don't film everything. There are definitely times. We just got through visiting our family for a few weeks in our hometown in Southern Indiana, and I kind of made it a point not to film it. And I think
it's not that interesting.
It really isn't. Well, it's not interesting, and you have to respect your family's wishes. Like, sure. We don't put our kids on videos that often, and if we do, I usually go, hey, I'm gonna film this or something, and then they usually roll their eyes and they never watch anything, so they wouldn't know it anyways. But you don't want to expose all of your personal life to that point sometimes, or you got to hold back a little bit. So
yeah, and sometimes you just look, I just want to get out and enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that was our fear, is that when it was going to be, even when we go out and we call it adventure videos, where we're going out and going to when we were in Memphis and going to the Wing Festival and do the fun stuff that we were doing, were we going to be bummed out because we were constantly filming things and we had to think in those terms? Most of the time it's not that big of a deal, but sometimes it can be a little bit of a drag.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to, I think the key is just film what you got to film and then put the camera away as much as you can. Especially like if you're on an epic hike or something like that. The funny thing is you don't even need that much footage because you only show little second clips.
Yeah.
So just film what you got to film and then just be in the moment and enjoy the moment. There is a balance that you have to learn. So let's go to the business side. when did you realize that this could be more than just documenting your travels? I think we covered that really though.
Well, I mean, we had to make a decision. I mean, when Darlene lost her job, we did not see it coming. We really did think that she was going to be one of the last, because the company was not really doing all that well. But we thought, well, surely with her being in marketing, they can't get rid of her, and we were wrong.
We were wrong.
And so we had to make a conscious decision. It was a big deal. We were like, okay, is she going to A, get another job, B, freelance with marketing, or, we had gotten monetized on the YouTube channel not too much before that. We're like, or we could give it a go.
I kind of told myself, I'll be honest with y'all, I started looking for a job. And looking for a job at 53 years old, even though I have a crazy good resume, it is challenging.
Yeah.
This is an age where they know they aren't going to have you for so much longer. And they look at younger people with AI as an advantage rather than experience. And it's super frustrating. And I know a lot of people have chimed in and said how, yes, they found that as well. But I was just like, all right, I'm going to give this channel 3 months. I'm going to see how much I can move that needle. And if I see it moving, we'll go all in. And I felt like, yeah, we started seeing that. We started seeing the growth. We started seeing the movement. And we're like, okay, I'm just going to go head first into it. And that's when we not only pushed into the channel being consistent, our contact, I got more into planning. I plan our videos out. I plan our shooting out. I do a lot of, I try to be very organized so I know, and that's a thing, you have to keep up with it all. You have to become very organized. I find that if you're just going to shoot on the whim and then try to turn it into a video, for us, that's just not, it doesn't work. So we do a lot of planning. How has building a community changed your RV experience?
Well, that's probably been the most rewarding piece of it,
has,
for sure. I mean, because then you're like, these are real people with real lives and real dreams. And for those of you who don't know, maybe you already do know, one of the first things that we did was we started a full-time RV course, which I'm going to do a shameless plug for now. But when we started into full-time RVing, I mean, for those of you who are full-time, you'll totally get this, that it takes a year, if not even longer, of just thinking about it and then deciding that you're going to do it and go, okay, and you're probably going to have to set a date, because if you don't, you'll probably never will do it. And you're like, okay, we're going to sell our house, or we're going to put it up for rent, or whatever we're going to do with the house. Then what do we do with all of our stuff? I mean, in our case, we ended up renting the house at first, but we had to completely clear it out. We couldn't leave stuff in the garage, nothing like that. And my God, that was a huge ordeal. And then we had never RV'd before. So we had to buy the RV. We had to go get the truck, and it was post-pandemic truck time. You couldn't find a truck and all this stuff. And then, so Darlene was doing all this, and she's also planning our first year.
Yeah.
Because she was like, again, we had zero experience. So she's like, well, the last thing we ever want to do is find ourselves without a place to go, because what will happen?
I think the unknown is the biggest source of stress. So for me, planning reduces stress. So not only were we doing all the things for the house, of course, then there's insurance, domicile, mail, family, emotional aspects, living in a small space. It's like all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why we created the course, because we thought, oh gosh, let's share how it went down for us, what we learned, so we can save people from making the same mistakes on time and money, which is, those are the two things that's going to cost you if you do things wrong.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that, could you learn everything that's in our course on YouTube? No, you can't. One, I'll say no, you can't. But like the stuff about how to learn the backup an RV or clean a black tank, all those kinds of things. Yes, you can learn that. There's too many videos on it, right? So the thing is that we knew we wanted to create the thing that we wished we would have had before we started a curriculum.
Yeah.
It's like going to school. Okay, tell me this. And I don't need to know this until I understand this, and so on and so forth. Knowledge builds on knowledge. But the thing that I think that we, and so many of our members have told us about, that they thank us for, is the emotional aspect.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we gain some popularity with our channel, is that we keep it real, yo. I mean, as far as like, that whole thing of, because living in it, and we have almost 300 square foot in this RV, which is really
Do
a
we
lot.
really?
I think so. I
Oh.
think I calculated that once.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
where I came up with that, but it sounded good. But you know, in a small space like this, and a very large dog, and you know, just living and traveling and having to move every 2 weeks, you know, it's stressful.
Yeah. So back to the community, why that is cool is we created that course, but we also created a private community for people who are transitioning to full time to have a safe place to go talk about their what they think are dumb questions, which other Facebook groups sometimes make you feel dumb when
They
you
can be
ask.
so mean,
They make you feel dumb for asking questions you
especially
don't know.
YouTube. YouTube's the worst.
So that community has become our first community. And then our greater community is our public community, which we've had a meet up at the Tampa RV show. And people, well, we'll get to that in a little bit. People do recognize us here and there. And then we get to meet people and talk to people. And it has created friendships.
Yeah.
We have some pretty good friendships that we've created. And I kind of cherish that because I was missing it so much when we first got going.
Yeah, and that's one of the tough things about full-time RVing. Just bottom line is that you'll meet lots of friendly people, but it's hard to make friends.
Yep.
It just is.
Oh, I don't know the answer to this. What's the most meaningful interaction you've had with a viewer? I know.
So meaningful. I don't know.
I have one.
That's an AI question.
It is an AI question. But I don't know. It was at the right moment, at the right time, right after my accident. And I think if you're listening and you don't know, I was in a pretty gnarly accident over the last summer, and I had a head and neck injury, and I was in a big C-collar when couldn't move my head kind of thing.
She fractured her skull.
Yeah, it was in a concussion. It was not good, but I was swollen. I looked terrible. I felt terrible, but our daughter was visiting, and by darn, I wanted her to be able to see something. And we were in Colorado Springs, so we went to Pikes Peak. If you don't know, Pikes Peak is this insane drive.
You can drive to the top, not with an RV, but you know, with our dually, we made the drive.
We made it, and the dually was pushing it. We're wide on the hips in that dually, and those roads are not wide. So, anyways, we drove all the way up, which I clenched the seat the whole time.
It's a butt clencher. Yeah. That one is.
So get up to the top. We kind of did I wasn't feeling well. We did as much as we could. But as we were walking back to the car, a lady ran up, and it was so funny because our daughter was with us, and said, "Oh my gosh, I am so glad you're okay. I was so worried about you." And I just was literally almost gushed in tears because I was so emotional at that point anyways. But it was just like, oh my gosh, someone out there saw our video and cared enough to come say something. And it's little things like that. I think some people get worried about if they do see us out that they're going to bother us. I don't know that unless you come knocking on the door at 9 o'clock at night or something like that, you're not going to bother us. We love talking to people.
What you see is what you get, you know?
And we are this, and I think we've had other people tell us that is you're exactly the same as you are in your videos. I'm like, I don't know how else to be. So this is what you get. But that was a meaningful moment for me.
That was a good one. And it also let me tell my daughter said, you know, because I used to be a quote unquote semi-famous musician in Florida. And I said, turned to my daughter and said, see, still famous.
We would go out in Sarasota like for breakfast or something with the kids, and someone would walk up to the table and go like, "Hey, Reverend Barry," and the kids were just like,
"Yeah,
oh Lord,
that's right, Dad's famous."
As much as you can be in there. Okay. Oh, do you ever miss the privacy of just being a regular traveler?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Well, no.
No.
Okay. I think that it wasn't the privacy of being privacy doesn't mean anything to me. It's the just going out and not having to film things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do miss that.
Yeah.
Come on.
So privacy. So people, you know, like there's a lot of channels that put their logo on the outside of their rig.
Not going to do that.
We're not going to do that. Couple of reasons. One, we're bound to do something stupid, and y'all are going to go, "Oh, look at that! Like there's no tomorrow doing that bad backup or whatever." I'm like, let's lower the chances. Let's stay under the radar.
I don't know. I just think it's cheesy, but okay.
Okay. How do you come up with fresh new content and ideas after hundreds of videos?
That's a good question.
Well, I think there's two different kinds of content. There's what you're doing. You're always doing something different. So a day in the life, what you're doing, adventure videos will kind of always be there. But if you follow our channel, you'll know that in our regular videos, we do teaching videos. We do different types of videos, gear. We do, so on that stuff, I just, you know what? I keep a little running thing on my phone notes. And anytime I come up with an idea or I think it's something that people could benefit from, I just throw it in my notes. And and I'm inspired by other channels. I'll say that.
Yeah, sure. And it's, it's also seasonal. You think about our industry. I mean, we're going into summer. We've got some summer focused videos that are going to come out where we talk about some topics that are in relation to that. Well, next summer, we'll probably do another one, but there'll be, and it lends itself to talking about products, because we all buy tons of stuff, right? We've got some cool things that we bought, and there's some cool new stuff that'll come out that'll be like, oh, we found this one cool thing. People love to shop. So, I think it's just because we talked about a summer prep video last year, the summer prep for this video might be completely different.
Yeah. And you can guarantee you ain't going to do a winter one.
Because she
I
do
don't
winter.
do winter. Well, I might eventually. We'll see.
You heard it here, folks.
I don't know.
I don't believe
I
it.
just really hate winter weather. Okay, this is a funny question, but I'll riff on it. What equipment do you wish you had invested in sooner? I'll just tell you right now, we didn't invest in much.
We're filming this on a phone, my phone.
Okay, so you see channels and they have the big, nice cameras, and you can definitely tell the quality of the video, but you can't start off spending thousands of dollars on equipment. So just use what you got.
Yeah, that, in fact, I guess if we could say there was anything that we did, it was actually we upgraded my phone because Darlene's phone, we were using hers at first, and we started noticing this weird like white kind of thing that was happening in the video, and all we could figure after a while was it must be your phone.
Yeah.
It's kind of old and jacked up, and so it was time for me to upgrade my phone. So I did that. So I guess in a way you could say, well, we did get a new iPhone, which of course cost $1,000.
Yeah, so for us is iPhone, GoPros, and good mics. And we used to have gone back and forth with the mics because these are original mics, and then we bought new mics that I thought were going to be better, and they're so far being a little problematic. So it is a process. I think I can tell you anything is don't feel like you have to go out and spend all this money on the get-go.
That would be a good tip, which is think about how annoying it is when you're watching YouTube video and you cannot understand what the people are saying.
Yeah.
Or when somebody's talking, especially if they're like the principals in the video. So
but I also can tell
I'm not gonna point out any channels, but I'm thinking of some that don't do a good job. It's like if somebody is talking and what they're saying is even remotely important, they should have a microphone on.
And if they turn away from the camera and talk this way, they should still be able to hear them.
Yeah.
So it is really important. I think sound is probably the biggest one. But here's the thing, guys. People will always complain about something in your videos. If you do this, there's always, and I think our sound sounds fine. And someone's like, you guys need to get a better equipment. You don't sound very good. And I'm just like, no one else has said that. So you can't listen to voices of one. You just,
And that lends itself to another big topic, which is one that was not on the list, but let's talk about trolls.
Stick it in there. Trolls, man, you guys. The more you grow, the worse it gets.
Yeah. Again, YouTube is the Wild West. It always has been because everybody has a YouTube channel or YouTube handle, whatever, that's not actually their name, and you can't see where they're from or what they look like or where they're from or any of that stuff like you can on Facebook or whatever. So they can say whatever the heck they want and feel like they can get away with it. In fact, so we just say trolls don't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. That, but you have to have like feelings of steel or a mind of steel to get past that and to realize that, especially when somebody said something really nasty, they're gonna, we call them, drive-bys. That's what our friend Dave says from the Border Hookups. He calls them drive-bys because they drive by, they say their stupid stuff. I almost said something else, and then They just go by and they never look, and they never come back again.
They don't see your comment, so it's not worth it. So here's because Barry never looks at a single comment I do.
Look at,
every once in a while he'll go in there, or I'll tell him to go in there.
If it's a video that I made mostly where I'm giving the content and people have questions, and I'll look at it.
But for the most part, it's always been me. And so I think I took it really personally at the beginning until the accident video. When you have a video go viral like that.
That's our most watched video.
It's the most watched video. 250 some odd thousand, I think, at this point.
Somebody almost breaks their neck and almost dies. It gets lots
people
of views.
like the drama.
We don't recommend it.
Don't buy into that, but people like the drama. So the accident video, I always tell people, showed me the very best in people and the absolute worst in people. I had a lot of, you threw dishwater out onto our beautiful lands, you deserve to get hurt. No joke. And not just one person, multiple people.
Yeah. Okay. So let's think about that for just 1 second. If you don't know the background of the accident, what happened was when you're boondocking, you don't want to, have water go into your tanks if you can avoid it. And so we collect our dishwater in a rubber tub
with biodegradable soap.
Yeah. And we have a side patio on our RV, which makes it kind of unique. And we were out in the boonies in Wyoming. It was pitch black outside because it's night and you're out in the mountains. And Darlene went out there and she didn't see there was something on the ground. She tripped and she had this big plastic tub and she went through the gate of the patio and hit the ground. It was about a 10-foot drop because we were dumping that dishwater that had little bits of food in it, I guess.
I just wanted to say back to them, where do you think those tent campers are peeing and pooping? But I didn't. So here's the thing. I mean, I was really sick. By the time I looked at any of the comments, we did the accident video, I don't know, weeks after the thing, and I was still pretty bad. I was bad for a long time. Yeah. And so reading those comments, when you're not in the right emotional state, it just really hits home. And it was a lot of bad comments and a lot of good comments. Thank you if you're one of those. But yeah. You have to get hard. That made me hard. After that point, I was like, I don't need you in my life. Swipe, forget the comment. If sometimes in the interface, if you just heart it, it'll at least go away like you answered it. So I would just be like, yeah, get rid of you, get rid of it. It's just don't engage. That's the thing. Don't engage.
At the end of the day, I think they're terrible people, really. I mean, if you leave a comment like that, you're a horrible person.
Yeah.
And I'm just, because I think to myself, I've watched a gazillion YouTube videos, and to my knowledge, I've never left a comment that I would be embarrassed for my mother to read.
But I think people are out there to get a rise out of people or to make themselves feel something like control or something. But after a while, I mean, it gets really petty. You touching your hair too much. You wear too much makeup. You don't wear enough makeup. You're with your dad. It's just, people are rude, but you just have to tune them out. Don't listen and focus on the folks that are awesome, which is the majority of people. And so I like interacting with people in the comments as much as I can. You just have to push the other ones out. And that is something, if you're thinking about YouTube, you need to be ready to handle. If you're fragile.
Yeah, it can't be a fragile flower.
You need to get hard. Let's see here. For the future, what advice would you give to someone thinking about starting a travel channel? I mean, I think we've said that. I mean, I think you just need to understand how much of your time it's going to take up, and if you want to give up that time.
Yeah, and I think if it's something where you want to do it and you want to succeed, and you measure success in money, subscribers, viewers, view time, all those kinds of things, then you have to pursue it as a business. So you have to look at it like, okay, there's obviously channels that do this well, not just RV channels. There's, YouTube's been around forever. There's successful channels out there. There is a successful roadmap for doing this. You have to learn what that roadmap is.
Take courses.
Yeah.
Watch other videos.
There's topics. I mean, there's tons of, but it's something you have to take seriously, and you can't, I think one of the things that we've seen is we've, as we were in some different creator groups, we've even had meetups with other creators and stuff, and we see people that are just like, they feel like that YouTube is somehow against them, or like it's biased against them, and or it's somehow seemingly unfair with something that's happening or not. I'm just like, that's not how this works.
No.
It's it's a business, and you have to work the system the way the system is supposed to be worked. And if you don't, you just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And try to figure it out.
Yeah. And there's so many experts out there in courses from beginners to advanced. I mean, I think one of the things that I would like to say is you don't have to make your videos just like the big channels in the RV niche. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing.
You could sit in your RV and put up a phone with a tripod and just talk to it.
Now,
with a funny hat.
Well, I mean, personality is a big part of it, and not everybody has the personality for success or YouTube, or
not everybody can wear this hat. Not everybody can pull it off. I know. It's true.
See what I deal with, y'all.
I'm working it. I'm working it.
I don't know about this hat. I'm just saying, but I just think that, because we've had other people like, why don't you do this like KYD, keep your daydream? Why don't you do this like X? Because I don't feel compelled to copy them. I don't feel compelled to be another one. I
could address the KYD. KYD, keep your daydream.
Amazing.
We've been watching them since the beginning.
We were KYD awesome. Insiders.
They're like celebrities to us. And we think that they're the best at what they do, certainly. But they also do it full time.
Yeah.
And they have been doing it for full time for a very long time. And they, and plus they have a cool little Airstream. Which I'm
well, and Mark has a course on how to start a YouTube channel, and it was my first course that I took, and it's a good base.
Yeah, you learn from the best.
Yeah, it's a good base to start with. But he just tells about every aspect of what it takes to just put it together. And it's good, but you have to keep going with that. You have to keep taking courses. You have to go outside the niche. You have to go to meetups, learn from other content creators. And then you have to ask yourself, is that really what you want? And if you're not willing to do that, totally okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're driving towards that. I think a lot of it's just time.
Yeah.
It's time and effort, and you can't flip a switch and be like this awesome travel channel like what they are. You have to give yourself a break and work with what you got, and then continue to grow, continue to get better.
Yeah, and I get frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I look at other channels and I'm like, damn, they have like 100,000 views in 4 hours. What the hell? What am I doing wrong? Kind of thing. But I have to realize it's a process. We're just not there yet. We're growing. And, it's just like we have to go work the system, be consistent, put out good content, improve on our content, listen to what the viewers are saying. It's just like, it is a process, and you don't get there overnight. So I think, in a nutshell, that's where do we see our channel?
We're way past a nutshell. We're like 37 minutes in.
We're not. If you have been watching us for any amount of time or listening for any amount of time, we do nothing in a nutshell. We are long-winded, and it is what it is. So this isn't that kind of video. This is a go deep, really give you information.
The truth, actually, we get paid by the minute. So we're trying to stretch it out.
Last one. Where do you see your channel in 5 years? Taking over the world.
That's right. World domination. That's our plan. We're coming for you, KYD.
Just keep doing what we're doing. We're just, I mean, more courses. We did the going full-time course. I think we're going to do a boondocking course. Well, we are doing a boondocking course. We're just slowly working on it.
We've got some other things happening.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we got to get done beforehand.
Yeah. So as we grow, more exciting things, meetups, camp outs together, different types of things like that, we really want to lean into. So
and we want to go do amazing things, and because that's why we all RV, right? So we want to go do those amazing things, but we want to bring those amazing things to you so you can experience them with us and be inspired to go and do that thing at some point or something like it, or just enjoy it vicariously through us at home. There's so much to do in this country, because we've been to 27 states now. We're in Michigan.
24.
Which is new for us.
24.
It's strangely cold here.
Yeah. It's May and
it's almost June, and yet it's still cold. Which I think is awesome, but it's weird. But anyway, so so there's still half the country we haven't even been to yet. So we're
100%.
stoked.
Yeah. So there's always something, and I will let this cat out of the bag. I would love to go RV in different countries overseas. Yes, I have this someday thing, and I want to show what it's like for an American just to go to another country, Japan, Italy, England, Ireland. Just there's so many different ones you can do, and show what that is like. How do we figure it out? How do we conquer it? So we have a lot to do, and we're excited to bring it to you. And
that sounds like a good 5-year plan to me. I'll come along if you'll have me.
I know, you better watch it.
So. We got to make it through this.
So, okay, that was today's topic.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
And if you have other podcast topics for us, please let us know
We're
in
all
the comments
ears.
below. If you have thoughts about a YouTube channel, if you have a YouTube channel and there's something we did not talk about that you think we should, leave a comment below.
Yep.
You know the drill.
You know the drill. All right. Next time. See you in a couple weeks. Bye.